The fasting illusion, why skipping meals isn't the fountain of youth. The science behind fasting, aging, and what your cells really need. They say fasting can turn back time, that skipping food forces your body to eat itself in the best possible way. It's called autophagy, from the Greek words auto, meaning self, and phagein, meaning to eat. Literally self-eating. But can skipping a few meals really slow aging? Or is fasting just another wellness myth wearing a lab coat? Because if starvation truly made you immortal, Hollywood would look like a Buddhist monastery by now. In 2016, Japanese biologist Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize for discovering the process of autophagy, how cells clean up and recycle their damaged parts. His work, published in Cell Metabolism, showed that our bodies have a built-in self-renewal system. It was groundbreaking science, and within months, it became an Instagram challenge. Wellness influencers pounced faster than you could say ketosis. It reversed my cancer, it cured my brain fog, it was the secret to eternal youth. Well, Silicon Valley's CEO bragged about skipping breakfast to optimize focus. Biohackers like Brian Johnson fasted to reprogram their biological age. Even Hugh Jackman swore fasting helped him bulk up for Wolverine. And then it became a competition. Who could eat the least and brag the most? It started innocently enough with 16-8. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. Then came OMAD. 1 meal a day. Before long, it spiraled into something resembling an endurance sport. Suddenly, eating lunch was for amateurs. Influencers posted reels of themselves sipping black coffee, eyes twitching slightly, declaring, "Oh, day 3, feeling so clear." Which is another way of saying day 3, hallucinating. One of my patients, we'll call her Lucy, decided to join the movement. She wanted to fast for anti-aging and fat loss. She started with 16-8, then graduated to OMAD. For 3 months, she ate nothing all day except black coffee, and by the time she got home, she was so ravenous she would devour a steak the size of a face. Well, not her face, the size of a face of a giant with 2 heads. And yet, she didn't lose a single kilogram. Instead, she felt drained, lethargic, and constantly cold. She stopped doing resistance training because she had no energy for it during the day. And when we checked her body composition, she hadn't lost fat, she had lost muscle. Her metabolism had slowed, her body thought she was in a famine. So technically, Lucy did become caveman level primal, just without the hunting part. For her, fasting wasn't a key to longevity. It became a trap, the illusion of control that ended up costing her strength. It all sounded so seductive. Starve a little, live a lot. But biology doesn't reward suffering, it rewards balance. And that's where the science gets interesting. Fasting triggers mild stress, and your body responds like it always has, by adapting. When energy runs low, a switch called AMPK turns on. It tells your cells to conserve energy, burn fat, and activate autophagy. Studies in Nature in 2018 and Cell Reports in 2020 confirmed that prolonged fasting helps clear out damaged proteins and mitochondria, both key factors in aging. But here's the fine print. Your body doesn't even start serious autophagy until around 16 to 24 hours in. That's an entire day without food, not skipping breakfast before your oatmeal latte. So if your intermittent fast ends with a caramel macchiato at 11 a.m., congratulations. You have achieved about 2% autophagy and 100% delusion. The truth is, fasting does work, but it's not magic. It's molecular housekeeping, not divine punishment. And before I go further, let me be clear. I'm not against fasting. In fact, I think intermittent fasting or even OMAD can be healthy for some people. The key word is some. For certain individuals, especially those who feel good doing it and see measurable benefits, fasting can be a powerful reset. But even then, your body is an adaptive machine. If you do the same fasting routine day after day, your metabolism will eventually adjust and burn fewer calories. That's why switching things up, alternating fasting and non-fasting days can actually make fasting more effective. And for others, those who thrive on energy from food, who enjoy breakfast, who rather not bite their spouse's head off before 10 a.m., don't feel guilty for not fasting. Maybe you get more out of eating because it fuels a great workout or it helps you think clearly. Some women especially need adequate protein throughout the day to maintain muscle mass, and that can't always be met through one meal. The point is, don't blindly emulate the next wellness influencer. Do you. There's more than one path to Jerusalem. Now, scientists found that fasting isn't the only way to activate these longevity pathways. mTOR, sirtuins, and AMPK, these are the same switches flipped by other stresses: exercise, heat, cold, even oxygen deprivation in small doses. In 2019, Nature Aging study, heat exposure from saunas triggered the same molecular cleanup as fasting, and short bouts of intense exercise activated autophagy just as effectively without the mood swings or coffee breath. Translation: you don't need to starve to trigger renewal. You just have to give your cells a reason to get off the couch. Picture a runner pushing through that final kilometer, or someone stepping out of a sauna, flushed and sweaty. That's not suffering, that's adaptation. That's your body saying, fine, I'll clean the place up. But like all wellness trends, fasting fell victim to excess. Because if some fasting is good, then more must be amazing, right? Well, not exactly. The modern fasting craze has blurred the line between metabolic health and malnutrition. If fasting for 20 hours is good, then fasting and calorie restriction must be even better, right? That logic doesn't just flirt with danger, it marries it. The mindset isn't just unhealthy, it's unsafe. It's quietly propagating eating disorders amongst the young and vulnerable people who equate hunger with discipline. Now we come to the Minnesota starvation experiment. During World War II, physiologist Ansel Keys led the infamous Minnesota starvation experiment at the University of Minnesota. His goal wasn't weight loss. It was to understand how to rehabilitate war survivors who had been starved. So he recruited 36 healthy young men who volunteered as an act of service. For 6 months, their calorie intake was cut into half, from about 3,200 to 1,560 calories a day. They lived on potatoes, bread, turnips. Now, within weeks, they lost a quarter of their body weight, their metabolism plummeted, they were constantly cold, lethargic, depressed. Many developed obsessive food behaviors. They'll lick their plates, they'll collect books, and they'll even have dreams about food. And then things got dark. One participant, Samuel Legg, during the rehab phase, brought an axe down on his own hand and amputated 3 fingers. Whether accidental or deliberate, even he couldn't say. Another subject suffered a severe psychological breakdown and required institutional care. Several became volatile enough to need round-the-clock monitoring, so in modern terms, they went stark raving mad. When the restriction finally ended and food was unrestricted, the men entered post-starvation hyperphagia. They ate ferociously, some up to 10,000 calories a day, and many overshot their starting weight for a time before settling back. In other words, after famine, the body doesn't just regain, it overcorrects. It was a haunting demonstration of how the human body and mind crumble under prolonged starvation and how refeeding can trigger powerful biological drives that are bigger than willpower. And yet, 80 years later, social media is selling the same thing, just with better lighting and affiliate links. This study matters today because we are seeing a quiet rebranding of starvation as wellness. Fasting for longevity has become the modern badge of discipline, but when taken too far, it mirrors the same physiological and psychological damage that Keys documented in those frozen labs. Yes, controlled fasting, when paired with proper nutrition, can help regulate blood sugar and inflammation, but push it too far, it becomes the very thing it's supposed to prevent: metabolic chaos. Sometimes too much of a good thing isn't good at all, it's dangerous. True longevity doesn't come from deprivation, it comes from rhythm, giving your body cycles of rest and nourishment, not punishment. Because if history taught us anything, it's this: starvation doesn't make us stronger, it just makes us smaller. In the end, fasting isn't a punishment, it's a dialogue between you and your biology. You stress your cells just enough to wake them up, then you nourish them to rebuild stronger. That's not deprivation, that's wisdom in motion. Because youth isn't about suffering longer, it's about recovering better. So the next time someone tells you they are anti-aging by skipping dinner, smile and wish them luck, then go and enjoy your salmon and avocado, because the secret to longevity isn't found in starving your body, it's in learning how to feed it wisely.